Their communication was limited to gestures, but they managed to understand each other. Gleb pointed to the fire and invited Han Q to join him. The Goryeo warrior nodded in agreement and followed Gleb to the fire. As they sat down together, Gleb offered Han Q some of the food he had prepared. Gleb watched as Han Gyu gratefully accepted the food, realizing that the warrior must have gotten hungry on the way. The two warriors sat together by the fire, eating silently and communicating with gestures. Gleb watched Han Q from the side, studying his every movement and facial expression. The Goryeo warrior ate slowly, savoring every bite. Nothing he hadn't eaten for a long time. After the meal, Gleb offered wine to Han Gyu, and they toasted their newfound friendship. As the night wore on, the two warriors continued to communicate through gestures. Despite the language barrier, Gleb and Han Q were able to communicate effectively through gestures. They gesticulated to each other, pointing to different objects. Han Gyu pointed with his finger, and Gleb spoke the names, fire, fire, sky, stars, books, hand, fingers, hair, eyes. Han Gyu really wanted to learn, and tried to repeat the words after Gleb, but with difficulty perceived unfamiliar sounds. Gleb tried his best to train Han Q, but it was difficult to convey the subtleties of his language. In the end, they both laughed at Han Q's attempts to imitate a foreign language. It was fun. They laughed. Sitting by the fire, Han Gyu pointed to his sword, showing that he was a warrior. In response, Gleb pointed to his books, showing that he was interested in knowledge, but he also knew how to fight. By the night they were both tired. It was especially evident from Han Q. Gleb offered to rest. He gestured for Han Gyu to stay, and Han Gyu nodded his thanks. They lay down by the fire, each lost in their own thoughts, with a newfound sense of intimacy. The Goryeo warrior was tired, so he fell asleep quickly. Gleb was fascinated by Han Q's facial features. He could not help but stare, admiring the delicate features, straight nose, sharp chin, pitch black eyebrows. They are like the wings of a bird in flight. The softness of Han Q's hair beckoned, and Gleb wanted to run his fingers through it. Looking at the warrior's lips, Gleb suddenly wanted to bend down and kiss them. He knew a long time ago who he really was, and with difficulty but accepted that he likes guys. Some friends guessed, but everyone pretended not to know anything, and the desire to kiss was strong. But he knew it was inappropriate, especially since they were still communicating with gestures. Gleb sighed and looked at the sky, wondering how he could be so drawn to someone with whom he can't even communicate normally. Besides, he doesn't know anything about this person. Lying next to Han Q, Gleb could not help feeling a sense of satisfaction. Despite the fact that they could not speak the same language, they still managed to communicate and have fun. Falling asleep, Gleb thought about what awaits him and his newfound friend from another world in the future. In the morning, Gleb opened his eyes and looked around. Han Q was nowhere to be seen. He realized that the Goryeo warrior had left while he was sleeping. Gleb felt a pang of sadness and pain in his heart. He liked Han Q's company, and nothing that they did not speak each other's language. Gleb got up and looked around the camp. Everything was in its place, except for Han Q's seat, which was now empty. Gleb wondered if he would ever see the warrior again. He packed his things and headed home. He felt lonely, walked slowly with his head bowed, lost in his thoughts. Thinking about the strange meeting with Han Q. Will there be a chance to meet again? A sharp pain of hope pierced my heart.